All right, here's what we did outside. We've got a new 2-aught gauge cable coming down from the inverter, goes through the cabin, down through the floor, comes all the way down through here and up to the battery disconnect and into the back of the battery disconnect. And from the battery disconnect, we have another 2-aught gauge cable that comes down all the way and goes back up into the cabin. Now, under ordinary circumstances, there is a 100 amp circuit breaker that used to be right here, and that's where this return cable would have gone to. I put it up inside the cabin because I didn't want to have it hanging out on the tongue anymore, because I didn't need it there. Everything is inside, and also I didn't feel like I needed to have it exposed to any of the elements out here. Obviously it's built for that, so if you do have your battery still on the tongue, it's not a big deal to have your return coming back out here. Also, you'll notice that this cable is black. Normally black is reserved for the negative side, but I wanted to have it I wanted to have it black here so that I could tell the difference between this one and this one. And when we get up inside, you'll see that I marked it as positive on the other end so that there's no confusion. All right, here's what we're looking at for wiring on the inside. So as you can see, this is the 2-aught gauge cable coming from the inverter. It goes down through the floor and goes out to the battery disconnect, which I showed you a little bit earlier. And then it comes back as this black cable. Now I know black cable is normally reserved for the negative side, but I'm using it for the positive side so that I can tell the difference between these two on the outside of the trailer. I did mark it here so that I know in the future, or if anybody else ever gets this trailer, they will know what it actually is. So it comes over here to this 100 amp circuit breaker. It's an auto reset circuit breaker. So just know that that's what that is. So it comes into the circuit breaker and then comes back out, goes up and through this hole right here in the wall separating this forward compartment from the pass-through. I'll show you how that connects up to the battery in just a moment. But on the back side, we got negative energy coming back out, and this is a Victron smart shunt, and this will enable me to accurately monitor the charge status of the battery and the draw and a whole bunch of other really super cool stuff. If you don't have a shunt in your system and you're relying solely on the Go Power controller that's on the wall, you're probably not getting a very accurate picture of what your battery is producing and or holding. So if you can replace anything, I would do this. And then also down here is a little auxiliary port, which I haven't wired it up yet, but I have a little battery temperature monitor that I'll put up through the same hole in the wall over here so that I can monitor the battery temperature. I don't expect that it will ever get so cold in here that it won't charge, but it's just good to know, and I'm that kind of guy. So the last thing here is this negative. This is basically just a ground, and it goes out to the frame and attaches to the frame in about the same location that this used to be. All right, as promised from earlier, here is the positive terminal with the Victron Smart Shunt temperature sensor attached to it, and it passes right through the wall here and down over there. It's pretty simple. I still have to set up the app for the Smart Shunt, but once I do that, everything should work just great.